Welcome to the Daily Loot, your go-to source for all things gaming. Whether you're a casual gamer or a die-hard fan, we've got you covered with the latest news, reviews, and analysis from the gaming world. So sit back, grab your controller, and get ready for a daily dose of gaming goodness. This is the Daily Loot, and we are glad you're here.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Daily Loot. Today is a very special episode because today we are going to talk about BlizzCon, which is only happening actually in something like 13 days. So today we will be talking about expectations, wishlist, but to make this episode even more epic, I have invited a very special guest that I have learned to know through Twitch. And today I am introducing my special guest, Ramberg GG.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. So, Ramberg GG, where can people find you?
Thank you for asking. So, my main presence is on Twitch at Twitch Ramberg GG. So, if you want to see a little bit more, that would be a good place to start.
Awesome. And the games you mainly stream at the moment, which kind of games is that?
Yeah, so I know there's a meme called Diablo Bad, but I will say that I'm sucked quite deep into season 2 of Diablo 4. I really think they've done a lot of good stuff to the game. They're still missing end game, like not just a little bit. There isn't any. Yeah, I'll try not to go too much into a Diablo chat already, but Diablo. Then I've played a little bit Escape from Tarkov as well. I'm looking forward for the new arena that is coming up in November, December. I think December, right? But yeah, and then I'm hoping for some good news at BlizzCon.
Awesome. And so everyone know, me and Ramberg kind of met. We both when Diablo 4 launched back in, when was it? Diablo 4 launched? Was it
March or something like that? It's actually a little bit embarrassing that I can't remember that. I think it was in March.
June 5.
I was way off. Thank you. I think it was the beta was in March. Maybe that was.
Yeah, that might be. Well, yeah. So back in June 5, when we started streaming, both me and Ramberg GG started streaming Diablo. I think like one day, about a bit after the launch, Ramberg GG actually rated me on Twitch, and that's kind of like where we started because wasn't it you that rated me?
Actually, there's a little bit more to that story. So I saw you on Twitter. Also known as X now, and then you made the little funny clip with like how to explain Diablo to friends, and I thought that was hilarious. So I actually saw that clip, went to your stream, gave you a follow, and I think that was how it all started.
Yeah, that's the it's
exactly. It's a 10.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and then because back then when I streamed, I only had like normally like 2 to 3 people streaming. So when you gave me a raid on, I don't know, like I think you had quite a lot, like you had a very big raid on me there. So that was
if it was in the start of the Diablo, I probably was streaming I was back to English streaming, but at least at the basis and I think the launch it was 50 or 100 or something like that.
Yeah, because it was big, especially when you're streaming with 2 viewers and suddenly you get like 50 people in, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, what's happening? But it was good. You handled like a chat.
Yeah, so that's the background story of us. And also, of course, Ramberg GG has also played, as you said, you also bad, a good oldie playing WoW, or basically Blizzard games.
Yeah, I'll say I have a couple of main games in my life. Diablo 2, World of Warcraft. I played primarily in like I was a huge noob in vanilla, but in TBC I took it a little bit more serious. I ended up playing in Nihilum for a brief moment after they cleared or made the world first on Black Temple. I wasn't, to be honest, skill level probably at the same level as those guys back then. But I got a seat there, so I played a lot of World of Warcraft. Right, worked at an internet cafe, didn't have family, didn't have kids, all that nice stuff. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, which again makes you the perfect candidate for being a guest today, since you have had the WoW life and the Blizzard life.
Definitely.
Did you ever jump on the Overwatch like back on?
Yeah, I played it. I'll say I played it a little bit. I actually thought that Overwatch was quite good. I didn't main it per se, but I played it quite a lot when it came out. It was a new, fresh blow of air in like shooter gaming modes. So I actually enjoyed it. They've had quite a tough ride lately. I tested Overwatch 2, but yeah.
I mean, they have a pretty decent Steam review rate, right?
I haven't seen it, but I am actually a little bit curious why the Pinocchio nose isn't hitting me in the eye all the way from southern part of Sjælland.
Yeah, I think it's like 11% positive and 89 negative. But when you read all the comments, it's just trolls.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you're doing review or reading reviews, right, I think it's really hard because, for instance, with Diablo, there was a lot of things they didn't do right, but there was also a lot of people that just hate Blizzard and Diablo, right? So when you're reading reviews, I think sometimes it's hard to figure out if it's actually good or if it's trolls.
Yeah.
And then also when looking at content creators, and you probably should watch out a little bit, but they also there's also a lot of videos on what is popular. Is it popular to like the game or hate the game, right? And a lot of the videos plays into that. So usually I have a handful of people. For instance, if you were playing something, I've actually asked you on a couple of MMOs because that's kind of your thing, right?
It used to be my main thing on YouTube to find new MMOs, make a first impression, and talk about it before anyone else talked about it. But then I had 3 kids, and that motivation kind of died.
Yeah, I only have 2, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's when you go from your full-time work to your kids and then back to doing content, it's like...
Yeah, I think it's hard to balance, but I mean, how old is your oldest?
It's 5, 3, and 1.
Okay, so in a little bit, I actually this table is meant for my oldest daughter. She's 7 now. I have an extra Diablo account for Diablo 4. I'm of course not allowing her to play that game, at least not if her mom asks. But like when they get a little bit older, you can kind of share the whole thing with them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the smart thing with me is like I have 3 kids and a wife, so I actually got like a full dungeon party for World of Warcraft, for example.
Oh, that's actually okay. I can give you a pro tip. So one of my colleagues, he's multi-boxing a lot. That's why I actually asked you back on one stream when you popped in. We talk about WoW Classic, hardcore, and multi-boxing. And he has 2 kids, so he's teaching them WoW, so he can play Classic with them, and then he'll do multi-boxing. Right now, I think he's doing 5 characters, but then he should only handle 3 characters, right?
Yeah, that's smart. That's very smart.
It is.
Okay, so let's jump out in it. And again, for everyone listening, if you would like to see more of Ramberg GG, go to twitch.tv/RambergGG. And it's RAMBERGGG. So Ramberg GG.
A lot of G's.
Cool. So we are going to start with the expectations, because we're going to save the wish list till after expectation, or we're going to go a bit more crazy with what we're going to dream of and hope is going to be out. And expectation is more going to be like what we really think is going to be there without dreaming too much. So let's do one by one. So you're going to start. Which first thing do you think we will see at BlizzCon?
I don't know what we'll see first, but I'll say there's a couple of things that are given, right? unless you want to keep it in a numeric order.
No, it's fine. Just
Perfect.
anything you think we will see.
Yeah, so I think we'll definitely see something with Diablo, right? We will see. Hopefully, we'll see. It's kind of wishlist, but I expect that we'll see the new expansion. Something about that. I mean, they have to, right? Then we'll see some World of Warcraft related. Hopefully, I have some hopes for what we'll see, but we'll definitely see either a new expansion or something else that we'll talk a lot about, I'm guessing, in the wish list, right?
Yeah. And if you say expectations where you feel you're very certain it's going to happen, would you then say only the expansion, or would you even say that you feel very confident they're going to show Classic Plus?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking about. I think so we talked a little bit about Christian Metzen joining, right? And one could dream, hope, or think that is because they're looking into, for instance, Classic Plus, and he will be a big part of creating that, right? But if that is the case, I simply think it's too close from him starting to. So like if we look at it logically, I think it's too close. But again, I'm as you know, and you don't know yet, but I'm very, very, very optimistic. So I'll say I wouldn't put my neck out. I wouldn't gamble anything on it. But yeah, I really hope we'll see something, and I think we'll see it, but I don't expect it.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna definitely say there's gonna be a WoW 11.0, a new expansion after Dragonflight, and we're gonna save the Classic Plus for the wish list.
Yeah, but what do you think?
I think it's gonna be safe for the wish lists because, again, as you said, it's too close. He just got hired. They made a lot of new posts, job posts, which is also for an unannounced WoW project, and it's too close.
If and that's actually let's add that one as well. I expect that new project will be the new World of Warcraft mobile game with a lot of microtransaction, and I'm sure that they will present that on the scene. No, I'm joking, obviously. Okay. But I would love if they're doing something crazy like Classic Plus, that they would like try to take a piss on it and go on and say, so we have this new mobile game, and then just play a little bit with that.
Yeah, don't you guys have phones?
Yeah, exactly. And it was brutal. I know I'm sidetracking a little bit, but it must have been brutal to be him on the stage.
Oh yeah. I think he expected like a lot of cheering, but he actually got booed out.
Yeah, that was. But and this is not facts in any way. What I've heard was that the plan was actually to do something in regards to Diablo 4, but they weren't ready. Yeah. So he kind of got thrown in there, like, talk about this new mobile game we have.
Yeah. I always saw the rumors and leaks about that they actually had a presentation, even a PowerPoint ready with Diablo 4, but there was not like any gameplay, anything they could show. So they kind of like scrapped it like 2 days before. I heard something about.
Yeah, I'm quite sure. Let's say that if that was the case, right? Imagine being the guy 2 days before BlizzCon. It's not like a coffee meeting on a Friday with the colleagues. It's at BlizzCon. So you're going on the stage in 2 days and talk about this new mobile game. Go.
Yeah. And if you go to that guy who said, presented the game, he streams very often, like on Twitch, where he develops games, like hobby project. And if you like just mention that thing, he's just either like muting you or ignoring you.
Really?
Yeah, he does like to talk about it.
No, but and I understand that, but I think the problem. I mean, if it was me, I would try to laugh about it. Like I said, if they have humor, they would do some sort of joke with it because everybody knows it's bad, right? So the only way to kind of get past it is to laugh about it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like the. I don't know if you saw the teaser for season 2 with all the errors in Diablo. They had like a lot of errors, like very bad math and stuff like that. And Yeah, exactly. But then they were like, "Yeah, we're laughing about it. Ha ha ha. That was not really. The QA wasn't on par. Something like that. That would be the way to handle it."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sidetracking again. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we got for sure. I'm agreeing with you with that. They have to show a Diablo 4 expansion. They need to put some hype into that game. We are definitely gonna see a WoW 11.0 expansion after Dragonflight. What do you else think? Overwatch 3?
But I'm a little bit. It's only single player, no co-op or anything. No, so I'm actually a little bit torn because if you look at the history of Overwatch, especially lately, they killed the esport part of it. Is my understanding. I read something about that. I heard something about that. I mean, they are probably going to do something Overwatch-ish, but it kind of seems like that project is not going very well. Hopefully for the people that plays Overwatch, that they don't get like the Heroes of the Storm treatment.
Oh.
But yeah. One thing I'm actually expecting to hear, it's a little bit of a wish list, but the new survival game they're working on. This would be a great time to...
I actually think they're going to show it.
Yeah, exactly. And also because it's been developed for so long, it makes sense. I think it will be... I definitely think that we'll see something.
Yeah, it was back in, I think, 2020 they showed it. It was either 20 or 21 where they showed the post with one picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is like 2 years ago or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I think they even said they have been working on it for a couple of years before that also.
Yeah. Or at least a trailer so we can kind of get... I mean, I don't know how much they will show, but at least a trailer that can kind of give us an idea of the visual theme, like all that jazz, right?
If we backtrack on Overwatch, what do we like? I think they're gonna show like one new hero and a new map.
Yeah, I think that would be... and probably, and they're doing some season things in Overwatch as well.
Oh yeah,
so probably a new
season 9.
Season. Yeah,
hero map. Boom.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't think that it will be that big a part of it, and I'm expecting the viewer counts to drop a little bit for the online viewers, right? I sadly think that Overwatch is in a bad state.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they're gonna surprise us and be like, "Oh, sure, see this. This game's gonna be wild. It's becoming an MMO."
Survival is the new project we've been working on for years. And I actually hope that they do something with it, because it was actually a decent shooter. I actually have one of my friends. It's the only game we play together, right? So I would hate to see that die, but I'm actually, I don't know how closely they work together with the Diablo team, but to be honest, even though Diablo had a rough start, it seems like they really want to do good, right?
Yeah.
And I think if because I think it's hard not to look at they had some else lately if we look over the last couple of years, right? But with Diablo, it looks like they want to do good. So if they kind of take that that view and add that to Overwatch, because I mean, either they close it or they make it great, right?
Yeah, because Diablo has like an insanely huge team. They got a season team, expansion team, balance team, and then they have like a team that helps overall. But they also have cosmetic team, I know. So they just have so many people, where Diablo 3 had one team to do all of that.
Yeah, but I will also say it's a different time, and also a different, I think there's two things that plays in, right? It's a different time, so the teams are smaller back then. But now when you look at cosmetics, they're selling a lot of cosmetics in the shop, and they are pushing those cosmetics out quite often. So I think that is one of the ways to make sure that they can pay for the other teams, that the cosmetic team is doing well.
Yeah, I saw they just released a mount from World of Warcraft in the in-game shop in Diablo.
Which one is that?
It's the new undead horse, which is the same horse you get from Lich King.
Ooh.
Let
me find my credit card.
Even if you buy it, you get Lich King's helmet as a trophy on the horse. You can choose between it. Yeah, you can either choose between the Lich King's helmet or his his Frostmourne sword.
That is nice.
But
can you use the sword as a cosmetic for the character or for... No, okay.
No, only on the mount. And the mount costs like 2,000 platinum points, which I think is like 20 bucks.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So in terms of all this, also, our great listeners knows where I stand, right? I don't have a problem in general by them adding that and earning cash on people that wants to pay it. And sometimes I buy stuff from the shop, but I will say that I think that the prices are quite steep because they are popping out new skins all the time.
Yeah.
And normally, if it's a game I play a lot, I would like, first of all, I like to support it because I would like the game to be good, right? And second of all, I'd like a couple of cool skins. But it's like there's a new cool skin every week, and they're minimum $20. Yeah. So it's like $80 a month for new skins, and then it kind of goes the other way for me because then I don't want to buy any because I know there's a cooler skin coming next week. You're not a transmog.
Yeah, you can really get a hole or whatever you say. You lose all your money on that. At least the season pass they have, the battle pass they have now, give you a decent armor.
Yeah, definitely, and I had some platinums left from the last season, so I actually bought the small season pass, right?
Mm.
But now that we're talking about that, or maybe we should save that for Classic Plus. We can touch on it briefly because it's more general thing. I think that one of the worst thing about these skins that you buy is that when I was playing World of Warcraft back in TBC and Vanilla, if you saw a guy with in the start tier 5, tier 6, for instance, in TBC, right? You knew that guy, he's been grinding, right? He actually did some stuff to get that gear. And now you're kind of getting numb because there's cool skins all over the place. So you don't really see them because it's not like, okay, that guy killed this one and that's a tough fight and you need to like war glaives, for instance, right? If you saw Rogue with the old glaives, you knew that guy had been farming, right?
Yeah.
And I actually miss that because now it's just take the credit card and then get a skin.
That's what I like about Classic WoW, because I only play Classic Hardcore right now. And I just love seeing people with the full level 30 gear from Scarlet Monstery, that red helmet, red shoulders. It's just it's like nice. That guy's been doing dungeons. And when you get to level 60, which is the max on hardcore, and you see people running around in full tier 1 from Molten Core, it's like, that's dedicated. Because he's been doing the entire Molten Core without dying. That's really cool. So
and hardcore, it's even, like I said, it counts for a lot more, right?
Yeah. Back to Diablo 4, I actually also think they're going to show Diablo 4 Season 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is probably releasing just before the expansion, and then the expansion, and then the expansion is going to launch with Season 4.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point that you're mentioning there. I'm not sure how they're going to do it because they probably have to do it if they want to do 4 seasons a year, right? But it's just so you have you have a season that ends, and then you have a new expansion and a season starting at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense to say, okay, we have the expansion and then at least a month, and then we have the season.
Yeah, because they said they want to have 4 expansions every year and 1 expansion every year. So
4 seasons and
4
1
seasons.
expansion. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just
and then on the other hand, it doesn't make sense to get it in 1 month and then you have to start all over again. So it probably makes sense to throw them in at the same time.
Yeah. And also, I would really like if they soon started adding a leaderboard to Diablo 4. Because I don't see a reason to farm nightmare dungeons and get like high up if I can't prove anywhere like look at how cool I am, or something like that.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. I agree with you. I would say though that for me, leaderboard would be really nice. But I know they're focusing mainly on end game content for season 3, right?
Yeah.
So if they handle the end game, content, then it would still be really nice with the leaderboard. But then you have something to do, right? Because now I think I'm level 75. We killed Doral a couple of times yesterday and one time today. So next step is to do Uber Lilith. But when we're done with Uber Lilith, it's done, right? So you kind of grind all the gear, so you have the perfect build, and then what? Then you can just...
Can you like keep killing Duriel over and over and over, or is that like a reset timer?
No, so the way it works with all the new bosses is that you need materials, right? So for instance, for Duriel, you need 2 shards of something and 2 eggs of something. And you get those from killing 2 of the other bosses. So one drops the shards, one drops the eggs, and then when you've done that, you can go and kill Duriel. And to kill those 2, you need to collect you can collect materials to that. But all the new bosses take some sort of resource for you to start them. Which actually, I would say in season 2, they managed to build it all together. So there's a reason to do Hellties. There's a reason to do the Legion events. There's a reason to do a lot of the things in the game now, because it plays a lot more together. So you kind of need to do all these things to get the materials, to get some gold, to get like different things. And I actually think that works quite well.
And does Duriel drop items that you cannot get other places?
Since the way Diablo is built, there is the RNG, right? So theoretically, everything could drop everywhere, kind of, right? But the thing that is that there are like a loot table for each boss, so the bosses has a much higher chance of dropping different uniques. So for instance, Duriel has a lot higher chance to drop the Uber uniques. So if you want to farm the Uber uniques, I really hate that name, but let's not comment on that. But if you want to farm the Uber uniques, if you want Grandfather or Shaker or something like that, then you would go farm Duriel.
Yeah, that's the Fifi word, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've actually canceled that because I had such a hard time talking about it on stream. So I actually, I'm allowed now. I'm allowed.
Fair enough. So back to the list. We have Diablo 4 expansion, Diablo 4 Season 3, World of Warcraft 11 expansion, World 11.0 expansion, Overwatch Season 9, Hero, a map, and the new survival MMO. Did you actually...
Yeah,
what, sorry?
What about the card game? What is that called?
See, that's really weird. Hearthstone, they just showed... Hearthstone showed their new expansion 2 days ago. Which makes absolutely no sense, because they have BlizzCon in 2 weeks. So why are you showing a new expansion before?
Yeah, that does make sense. But I think I've heard... I played Hearthstone when I had a job that was involving a lot of waiting in a car, because I could sitting with my tablet many years ago. But I think I've heard something about Hearthstone not doing that great in terms of esport as well. Kind of like Overwatch. I might be wrong.
Yeah. It's not as big as... I mean, none of Blizzard's esport is as big as the other games, but that's because of their limited prize pool. I saw they just increased it to, I think, $250,000. But the problem is then you have games like League or Dota, where you can win millions of dollars. And Blizzard is like, you can only win 250,000 here, which you have to split between your entire team and also the managers of your team.
Yeah, it makes sense that is not as popular, obviously.
But yeah, so for example, you have Dota, where that Dota is like the game that has the biggest esport pool. But that's because when you buy the battle pass up to the esport event, I think it's something like 10% or 20%. No, I actually think it's the entire battle pass price you buy goes into that prize pool. So when 1 million people buy a battle pass for, let's say, $10, then 10 million people's $10 goes into that prize pool, which is which I understand why no one wants to do Blizzard. esport.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. But I think it's a pity because actually one thing I would love to see more was like WoW Arena, but I think that as an esport that died totally, right. I don't think that exists anymore.
See, the thing is, like, when they do the esport arena tournaments, they have like 20,000 people watching. But when they do Mythic Plus Dungeon esport, where it's about who can do the dungeon fastest, they have 100 to 200,000 people watching.
Makes sense. Makes sense that is what they're focusing on.
Yeah, so I think that I have a feeling they're gonna implement something into the game so you can actually do like tournaments directly in the game. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Is that everything we expect they're gonna show? Because the Hearthstone expansion is already shown.
But won't they go through all the games at BlizzCon? So I mean, even though they've shown it, couldn't they go a little bit more in depth? I mean, is it a teaser they showed, or is it like the full expansion?
For which?
For Hearthstone.
Oh, they have shown. They have basically shown a lot of cards. There's a page up going right now. We know the name. They have already shown a bit of gameplay. So pretty much everything. Even a release date. So I think it releases the 13th November. So like 10 days after BlizzCon.
I don't get why they want holding that for BlizzCon.
No.
That doesn't make sense.
No, unless they want to not talk about Hearthstone. Oh yeah, of course. We're gonna see Warcraft Rumble, where they're gonna talk about it, and also the game is gonna release at the same time with BlizzCon. It's releasing on 3rd November, same time as BlizzCon. And what I 100% know they're gonna talk about is Warcraft Rumble release and raids, because they have right now a tab. I play it quite a lot, and inside the game they have a tab right now called raids coming soon. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna show what a raid in this game is.
Okay. I haven't looked into anything Warcraft Rumble.
I'm just warning you. It's a game that just want your wallet all the time.
Kind of like Immortal. I think we'll hear something about Immortal as well. Diablo Immortal.
Oh yeah, potential new expansion also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Immortal expansion, because they haven't done an expansion. They only. Oh yeah, they did a new class.
Yeah, the Vampire Knight, the Dark Knight. Ooh, Diablo. I think it's safe to say I expect that we'll see a new class for Diablo as well, and I expect it to come with a new expansion. So in that bit, I think we'll see a new class as well.
Yeah, because that cup they sold on the Blizzard's website had 6 class icons.
yes. Let the digging begin. Definitely, and I really hope that it's a paladin. All the class in Immortal, kind of like a Dark Knight, something like that. That would be nice as well.
Yeah, my biggest wish is definitely a paladin, crusader, even a priest, just anything with holy magic. Yeah,
they kind of miss that, right? I will say personally, a Hamadin from Diablo 2, I miss that. Oh. I would love to see that again.
That would definitely make me just instantly buy an expansion and just play it.
Let's just send the podcast to Blizzard and then it's instant sale. Let's go.
If you want to fix your games, listen to this.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's expansion, season, new classes, WoW, Overwatch, new survival MMO, Warcraft Rumble, and Diablo Immortal expansion. Potentially, as you also said, we're gonna see probably even more mobile games, because I know they said some times back that they are working on a mobile game for each of their games.
Okay.
So we have a Diablo mobile game, we have a Warcraft mobile game now. So potentially we're gonna get some kind of like maybe StarCraft mobile game. Because
I actually think it's a pity that, because for instance, I haven't played the Warcraft Rumble, but I played a little bit of Diablo Immortal, and I actually think it's a decent game. It's just too expensive with all the microtransactions, right? Yeah. So I think it's a little bit a pity, because I was back when I was playing WoW. there's a lot of rumors of like a StarCraft MMO, right?
Yeah.
I was dreaming about that, and it seems like that could be a way to go if they're doing StarCraft.
So like a StarCraft mobile MMO?
Yeah, like a light MMO or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. And with the same controls as Diablo, kinda looking up from.
Yeah, something like that. Because actually, I played, for instance, Diablo on controllers and also on the mobile, and it actually works quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, I play it only in my PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Didn't you enjoy it?
Yeah. And Diablo 4 I play on my PlayStation 5, but that's because my CPU is too bad. So if I play Diablo 4 and have OBS running, my stream keeps disconnecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a 2 PC setup.
That would be nice. So is that all the expectations we're gonna go with?
Yeah, I think so, because everything besides that would be wishful thinking or something in that ballpark, right?
And we don't believe in a potentially Warcraft 4 or StarCraft 3?
Not at this point. I think that we would have heard more rumors about that. And I'm not sure. I think the whole strategic game scene, it actually looks like it's coming back a bit, but I think that it would be a tough sell to get the management in Blizzard to invest in that at this point.
Well, and back to that, the entire management of Blizzard just changed, because when Microsoft bought Blizzard Activation, all the people in the board, every people in the world who had shares in the company, they got bought from them. I even know someone who had shares in them. He, got all his money back with even more on top of it. So the only people now on top of Activision Blizzard is actually Phil Spencer, the Microsoft boss. So before you had 20 money-hungry people who wanted just money. Now you have Phil Spencer who wants the best games because he wants people to buy the Xbox.
Yeah, and the Game Pass, and that makes sense. But then it's still too close for them to release anything about that.
Yeah.
So I'll say, at least for the board that was there before, I don't think there's a chance. But definitely, and I mean, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings, but I see the acquisition of Blizzard and Activision is a huge win for us.
I agree.
I mean, it's not fact. That's just mine or our belief, right?
Yeah. All right, so it's time for the wish list. But again, for everyone who's listening, we have now on the expectations list that it's going to be Diablo 4 expansion, Season 3, new class, a new World of Warcraft expansion, Overwatch Season 9, some new heroes and new maps, the new survival MMO, Warcraft Rumble, release and explanation about the raids, and a Diablo Immortal expansion. So, now comes the crazy one, the wish list.
The good stuff. So what is on top of that on your list?
That is definitely going to be Classic Plus.
Yeah. Second that.
It has to be.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, I think, with Chris coming in. I really, really, really hope that the reason he's in is to kind of shape Classic Plus.
Yeah. Make Warcraft great again.
Yeah, exactly. Red hats and everything. And I would definitely I played Dragonflight, I played a little bit of Legion, and I think that's Cataclysm a little bit. But besides that, like, I played WoW back in TBC. After TBC, I kind of stopped playing it seriously, right?
Yeah.
I would definitely go back. And give WoW another chance if we see Classic Plus.
Yeah, it's the fun thing is, like, when Dragonflight released, I knew like close 11 people who started playing it, and today none of them plays. Like all of them have stopped.
Yeah, and I think there could be multiple reasons, right? I think one of the reasons I stopped World of Warcraft was simply time. back when I played, if you didn't grind, I like to be like, when I'm playing the game, I don't need to be the best, but I like to be up doing the in-game content. And you couldn't do that if you're playing 2 hours a day, right?
No.
And with time, now that I'm streaming, I have more time to game, and that's great. But still, I simply didn't have the time to do it. And with Dragonflight, it seemed like they wanted to do it a little bit easier for people like me or us with kids and all that, right? So that was the reason I jumped back. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit in the start. There's a lot of nostalgia, right? But I did some arena. I had a warrior. I enjoyed that, but I was hunting for some transmogs as well, right? Some of the old ones to kind of get that feel again. But besides that, it just didn't feel like there was more. I think a short way of saying it is there was more love than Warcraft, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like Dragonflight was so off to me. It felt like if you like Mythic Dungeons, if you like raiding nonstop, then it was an expansion for you. But it just didn't really feel for me. And also, I got a bit angry because they totally forgot the PvP players. We haven't had like new battlegrounds and new stuff like that for more than like multiple years, and PvP is like my main thing. I know they added that solo shuffle arena thing there, but that isn't enough for me, especially when I like to play DPS and I have to sit and wait 32 minutes in a queue to get into arena.
And also, as I recall, the rewards for solo queuing was not really there, right? You didn't get the conquest point, didn't you? As I recall,
yeah, they changed it when they finally released the final version, so you got both raiding and conquest.
Okay, because as a player on the level I'm at WoW now, it was really great to just be able to solo queue, right?
Yeah.
But I would still say that it felt like the reward was a little bit slim, right?
You might have tried it when they still had it in beta, and then they released it finally, and then you could like get full PvP gear and it quite fast with it.
Yeah, maybe that's actually true.
They just announced something new. I don't know if you heard about it, but we're soon gonna get rated Battleground solo queue.
Ooh, and that is nice.
Yeah,
that is really nice.
And the best thing is you can queue with a friend if you or your friend is playing a healer. So, for example, if I play a Resto Druid and you play, let's say, a Death Knight, we could queue together into rated Battleground, and get conquest and raiding and all that.
Yeah, that's nice. That would be really nice, because I haven't played one rated Battleground, I think, in Dragonflight at all.
Yeah, I tried, but it's impossible to get into groups because they require you have to hire rating, good gear, all these. It's kind of like getting into a job interview. They just want all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's when they're gonna beta test it in 10.2, which is releasing on 7th November, and then they're gonna finally release it like later.
Okay.
Okay, we have on the wish list right now Classic Plus.
And I think that Classic Plus, just before we pass that off or go to the next point, I think that is the majority of attendees to BlizzCon.
Yeah,
is wishing for Classic Plus, including myself, even though I'm not playing WoW at the moment, right?
And the people who's listening right now, if you're like, what the hell is Classic Plus? The biggest rumors and leaks about what Classic Plus could be is, if you imagine, go back to Vanilla 2004, where we had the good old World of Warcraft. Then the first expansion came out, the Dark Portal opened, and basically changed the entire world we know. High Elves became Blood Elves. Illidan, he became corrupted. All these things that is happening. If the Dark... See, this is why people say Classic Plus is going to happen. The Dark Portal never opened. In Draenor, the things never happened. So the Dark Portal never opened, which means High Elves would still be High Elves. They would still be a part of Alliance. Orcs, the big trolls, are going to join the Horde. The entire world of Azeroth would be like... It's kind of like what Marvel is doing with What If, the multiverse thing. So it's kind of like saying, oh, we're going this way now instead of this way. And that would be so cool.
That would be. I will say I have a TPC had a very it's a sore spot in my heart.
Yeah.
Or like I really enjoyed that. I remember like when the expansion hit, like going to the portal, going to Badlands, all that. That was amazing, right? I actually played the classic when they announced TPC. I had to play that again, right? Because that was like my main time in WoW was there.
Yeah. Yeah, my main time was in all the three first games, but that was, when WoW released, I was like 10 years old. So, that was in school time where you could just play every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I must have been 20 then, so I was a little bit older, right? But at that point, I actually had a lot of time. Like I said, I worked at an internet cafe.
Ah,
So, and especially when I joined the Nihilum, my boss thought it was cool that I was playing. They had like a gaming equipment shop, monitors, mouse, and all that, right? So I was managing that and working in the cafe. But he thought it was cool that I was playing on my character that was in the Nihilum while I was at work because people came in and saw that and they're like, okay, shit. What mouse are you using? Kind that wasn't hard work, but that was what I said. So I could play some World of Warcraft in work time.
are you allowed to say which, like the cafe you worked on, was that like a known cafe or was it just more a local one?
No, it wasn't. It was the one in Lyngby. I can't remember what it was called. Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
wasn't
it wasn't, yeah,
Boomtown.
Boomtown.
Yeah, we did some cut promo tourneys in Boomtown back in the days. I remember. That
Boomtown
was
doesn't exist anymore, does it?
no, sadly, that Boomtown was a good place. I remember we were doing the tourneys with Jacob, that is the creator of Astralis.
Ah, yeah.
So he took it a little bit more serious than me, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when the Shadowlands released, I was actually live streaming the launch inside an internet cafe, the dream one, which was in Rødovre. So they invited me in there, and I was sitting on a stage in front of a lot of people, streaming in front of a lot of people. That VIP guy on a stage with 20 people watching.
Yeah, exactly. I know that feeling. But that's cool. That's good time. Yeah. So in terms of wish list, I would say in terms of so since I'm playing a lot of Diablo, I have a lot of wishes for that, especially in terms of end game, right? So I would say a lot of the things is something that I expect, so that's why it's on the expectation list. But on my wish list is that they do some sort of rating in Diablo, like a light raid, some sort of end game content where you have to be a group and you have to work together.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
to learn mechanics. It shouldn't just be one boss because I think the bosses they added in season 2 is good, and there's mechanics, but it's still like, for instance, Gregorovich, I think he's called, is one of the bosses, right? We had our first encounter with him yesterday, and we just instantly wiped. He just one shot us all, right? And today it's like it's one day later. I can just stand by myself, and I don't really want to move because it takes time. So I'll just nuke him down, right? So I mean, the progress. I think what I'm trying to say is I miss the times when we were doing progress rating
Yeah.
in World of Warcraft.
Did you ever play Lost Ark?
Yeah, I actually played it recently as well.
Yeah, because Lost Ark had has some really good raids. They both have those dungeons, the 4-man dungeons that are really, really hard, where if people, just one in your group fails the mechanics, you die. And the 8-man raid they have is the same. Like, if people fail, you
Sure.
die.
Actually, just to clarify, I was thinking about New World, but I have played Lost Ark as well.
Oh, okay.
And I think Lost Ark is doing a lot of good stuff. Actually, now that we're talking about wish lists, I don't think we'll see it, but I would wish for them to look a little bit at the way the abilities work in Lost Ark. I think the combat feels so good. Like for instance, if I mainly play a barbarian in Diablo, I love that fantasy. That is kind of what I do, though that is not that good in this season. I really love it. But it's kind of like you have one ability main ability, and then you have a small ability to kind of get your rage up, and then you have your shouts.
Yeah.
But in Lost Ark, as I recall it, you had all sorts of different skills that made you fly in the air and pump the ground with your sword and do combos and stuff like that. I feel like Diablo is a little bit. I think it comes down to that Diablo 4's biggest problem is Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, and probably also Diablo 1. Right? They're looking too much back.
Yeah, because in Lost Ark you have, I think it's something like 4, 8, 12 spells, so there's more like you can juggle between. Where in Diablo, yeah, as you're saying, we have 5.
Yeah, and it's built up a lot about like you have a main ability and some support abilities.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of feeling you have. And in Lost Ark, I just remembered that, and I actually started it up within the last half year, right? And I was amazed just logging in on my old character, going out to some mobs, and I was doing the piano because I couldn't remember the abilities. But still, the piano was like he was flying around doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry. So for the wish list, I would love to see them do something with abilities. Like in general, just add more life to them, so it doesn't feel so dull. Because it feels kind of dull. I mean, it looks good and it feels good the way they handle in that regard, but it's just a little bit dull.
Yeah. All right. Diablo 4 rating. That one I really like. And Diablo 4 build improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, that is...
And I'm just going to throw it on because I also want the Paladin.
Yeah, definitely. Second that.
We expect to see a new class in Diablo 4, but for a wish, a Paladin would be good. And I really hope we can have a Paladin where you can run a build where you can use your typical mace and shield, but I would love if we could also like have him with just a 2-handed sword.
Yeah, so he goes haywire.
Yeah, exactly. Some kind of like retribution spec, or even like a spear build, like something. Because I know in Diablo 2, all the meta builds was shield. You had to use shield and a mace. That was just how he worked. But I really hope we're gonna see a Paladin in Diablo 4 who's like, you can go retribution, holy build, tank build, protection build, like all different builds.
Yeah, I would love that as well. That is also why I would prefer the Paladin, but I would really like to see, like, for instance, the one they have the new class in Diablo Immortal, right? And it kind of goes into the same fantasy, right? With the warrior that is like you have full knight, full armor, but he knows how to fight. The Paladin is more calm, more controlled, more all that stuff, right?
Yeah, kind of like Death Knight / the vampire guy.
Exactly. But they could pull it off with the Paladin, but just have like have some builds that would work with only one 2-handed weapon.
Yeah, because see, that's what I liked about Lost Ark when I played, the warrior, the berserker guy. That you had like this huge sword, and in Diablo 4, the barbarian sword is always like this tiny sword on your back where you're like, I can't even see the sword.
I will say though that looking at Asian games in general, not only MMO, the weapons are always like over there. I remember there was Soul Calibur, maybe an old fighting game. Like one of the first one I played where they had weapons, right? And it was also like a sword that was 3 times the length of the character.
Yeah. It's also kind of like a thing Final Fantasy had done for many years.
Yeah.
They always have these huge swords.
Yeah, I haven't played Final Fantasy. It's been a little bit on my list, but I think that in general, when we look at the Asian MMOs, I think they tend to be quite grindy. And I was actually looking at Black Desert Online. I played it for a couple of weeks, sometimes after its release, maybe a couple of years after, right? And it quickly became too grindy. But I know they've done a lot now, so I was actually considering. I think I bought a new account because the old one I had was too old. But it was before it was merged with Steam or something like that, so I couldn't.
Oh yeah. They kicked out their publisher and became self-publisher.
Yeah, maybe that was it because I couldn't log in.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember which email and all that jazz. So
Yeah. Okay. Another thing for wishlist.
if we get one or two from the one that is there now, I'll be one happy camper. But
I mean, well, okay. If we're just going crazy, I would really love to see a Warcraft 4. I'm not, the StarCraft player, so I don't really care about StarCraft 3. I'm more like I want to see a Warcraft 4.
yeah. I see it. I would love the StarCraft one, but I like the spaceships. But I will say, it could be really good. Also because you can say in some regard that Warcraft franchise has been the ring that ruled them all, right? The first game that actually started a lot of other games, right?
Yeah, and of course, if we look at popularity, it would probably be StarCraft, because StarCraft is like insanely big in Asia.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going haywire like that, I would wish for some sort of announcement with a StarCraft MMO. I would like. I know that it's not going to happen, but I would. I really think that there's a lack of sci-fi MMOs like high quality. I would love that.
Yeah, because like the closest thing you get today is Destiny, which
Yeah.
I personally think is a miss.
Yeah, I've actually played it and I enjoyed it, but it's just not. Yeah, I think a miss is probably the right way to say it. It's hard to put your finger on one thing. It's just.
Yeah, and the new player experience in that game today is so bad. Like people say it's impossible to be a new player today because you log in and it's like you have a game here. Where do you want to start? It's like people just like, oh, I can't even compromise this.
Yeah. Luckily, I had a seasoned player that helped me out. Right, that's always, I think, a good way to get into new games. Right, to kind of get the ball rolling. One thing I would like to add to that wish list is in regards to the new survival MMORPG.
Yeah.
So I would wish for it to be a hardcore game, kind of like maybe not DC, but I know there's different ways of looking at it, right? But the one thing is the aesthetics of it. I hope they make it dark and evil in some regard. I think we saw a photo, and I don't think I'll get that, sadly. But still make it a hardcore game that doesn't focus too much about the crafting, but the whole thing about when you die, you die. There's with focus on PvP. With the focus on collecting some good weapons, like they should have some. I think one thing that some survival games are lacking are cool items, right? For instance, Rust. I'm not a big fan of Rust, and one of the main things is that I think the items and the weapons are simply boring, right? Like you said, you want the big sword.
Yeah.
And I want that feeling as well, even though it's a hardcore survival game, right? Or at least that they make the hardcore game so that you can select that, kind of like what you say, writing there with some over the hardcore element, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be that for everyone. But I like the option, so we can go and do some PvP and do it hardcore. If you die, your keyboards die, right?
Yeah, you can like have a PvE server for the snowflakes.
Exactly.
Or the Care Bears, that's a more popular word, Care Bears. And then you can have the hardcore servers where, well, you can build bases, your bases can be destroyed while you sleep, and if you die, you lose your items.
Exactly. And I mean, if there is a stash, I'm fine with that. That makes life a little bit easier, but it's just I actually think what I'm actually asking for is I played a lot of DayZ before it became stable, but the standalone a little bit about, of the mod. I don't know if you're familiar with it, or if you guys and girls listening are familiar with DayZ, but it's a hardcore game. You start the game on a beach. You are hungry, you are cold, you need to collect the items, you need to get warmth and food, you need to collect some weapons. We called it the running simulator because, like, sometimes you had to start the game by quickly grabbing some food and some clothes and then run for half an hour, like in real time, half an hour.
Yeah.
But what that game had was the feeling you had when you were in an infight. Was at that point I hadn't ever tried anything like it. It was so good because you had something on the line, right? Tacos is kind of doing that for me as well, but I would still say not in the same degree as DayZ did back then.
I didn't jump on the DayZ wagon, but I jumped on when H1Z1 was big.
Yeah. That was a good one as well.
Yeah, and when they introduced Battle Royale, like me and my friends, we were having such a blast.
Yeah.
I remember the first match I had. We found like this house where you could climb under the house, and suddenly we hear people running above us. That was like the first time I played a game where you can like hear people running above you, and we were like lying under the house, like laughing like small kids. Like we were having like the first time you try it was so unreal to try this, and it was also scary at the same time.
Yeah, because
if they see you,
there's a good chance. What about now that you're saying Battle Royale? How would a Blizzard version of one of the games Battle Royale style look like? Which game would it be? And how would that look?
I could definitely see a Overwatch 2 Battle Royale where you drop down, let's say 20 teams on a very big map where you have like one tank, one DPS, and one healer. And then you have like like kind of like Apex. You have you have this 3-man team everywhere, and it's just like a big clash between 20 teams.
I'm a big enjoyer of Battle Royale games. I really like it. I was playing PlayerUnknown Battleground PUBG before, like back on when it was a mod to Arma. I really like. Also in general, I like the stories where you get like the worst out of people, like Hunger Games and stuff like that. I know it's I know what it is, but I like, I've been through all the books multiple times. I've been through the movies multiple times. Like that whole thing, I love that.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, I've said it. The same with Halo, the new Halo game. Why doesn't it have a battle royale?
It is a mystery to me.
If that game had a battle royale, it would, like, people would play it so much.
You can see it on Call of Duty, right? The most popular game is Warzone, like in the whole Call of Duty franchise, and that's just how it is. I will say I love it when battle royales have a quick mode, so it's a smaller map. Go in, either you win fast or you fail fast.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. But I would love to see it. I would say Overwatch, but I could also see some sort of that play out. Maybe not in the WoW.
It could work in Diablo as well.
Yeah, I was thinking Diablo. It could work with like a basic set of items, a basic set of skills. Maybe remove the Paragon board, or give you like a preset of Paragon points, like some power ups that you collect, and then you don't have to set it up. You just collect it, and then there's a Paragon pack, something that goes with one board with some of the Paragon points filled out, right? I mean, if they add, I think that is actually almost as high on my wish list as Classic Plus to see a Diablo 4 Battle Royale. Not as high, but that would be so sick.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm with you. If I would say the same as about Overwatch. If they did an Overwatch Battle Royale, that would actually be as exciting for me as Classic Plus, because I think I would enjoy just farming that every day.
Yeah, and it would actually be what could win Overwatch back, or like get Overwatch back to because battle royales are the thing, and I think that's a game mode that will stick forever because it is so intense. It's so cool. It works. You can do it solo. You can do it in groups.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one on the list now, and
Oh,
yeah, because
3.0.
Heroes of the Storm was my main game back in the days. Until they told on BlizzCon we're basically canceling the game, and then I just basically uninstalled it because I was like, I don't want to play a game where you're not getting more heroes, more maps, more updates. Just this is the game, play it or don't play it. That's why I was like, yeah, no thanks. But we already have today. I was saying on Twitter I want 2.0, but people were like, we already have 2.0. That was kind of like the release because 1.0 was like beta and then 2.0 was the release. So it's actually Heroes of the Storm 3.0 I want more. And what I talked with some people about was that since now Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard, they could throw in other people now. They could throw in Master Chief in Heroes of the Storm. They could change the game title from Heroes of the Storm to something like Xbox Brawler. Something.
Yeah. And I think that genre, like League of Legends, is doing extremely good. I've played it when it released, League of Legends, and I'm actually talking with some of the guys that when season two dies, that I might join him. I suck at the game, but they're good, so they have big shoulders to carry me. But I really enjoy that type of gameplay a lot. So for them to do that, I think that like on a personal note, that would be great. But also in terms of a business perspective, I actually don't know what went wrong with it, but with Heroes of the Storm, but it would make so much sense.
Yeah, what I mainly understand is the esport kind of died because they were not earning a lot of money. Like there wasn't enough competitions, there wasn't enough interest in the esport, there wasn't enough money in it. So it was a no-brainer. You had to play League of Legends or Dota if you wanted to have a future with money. But there was a lot of interviews when they interviewed the Dota esport players, where they did ask them, which game do you most enjoy? And a lot of them actually said, I most enjoy playing Heroes of the Storm, but I cannot earn money from it, so I have to play Dota.
Okay, that's actually a pity, right?
Yeah. So what? Yeah, it would be nice if Phil Spencer from Microsoft was like, or Xbox, we need to revive that game again, and we're throwing Master Chief on the top of it.
That could be so awesome. But the thing is, if we look like historical, have Microsoft done anything within esports?
They do have esport with Halo Infinite right now.
But is that big?
I'm not sure.
So I think where I'm getting is that they need to be. It sounds like you know more about this, I can hear, than I do. But it sounds like they need to be willing to throw in a lot of dough to make it a success, right?
Yeah.
And if they're not willing to do that, and they don't have experience doing that, I think it can be hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see Heroes of the Storm 3 as well, actually. Also because when it's a new game, it's easier for a guy like me to jump in because everybody's starting. I mean, of course, someone has some experience that they can build on, but still, we all start from scratch, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the cool thing with Hero Storm is it's a party game. It's a team game. Everyone has shared XP. You play as a team. It's not like League where it's all about you and like you. It's you can be the guy who gets very high level up and can basically carry your entire team. Where HUTS it's about if you have one on your team who's bad, you're gonna lose because everyone needs to be good on your team and play together. So it's also easier for you to come into as a new player because you're gonna play with your team.
Yeah, that makes sense and sounds cool. Sounds really cool.
Any more?
I'm not sure. Like half of the ones that was there, I hadn't thought about that before we were sitting down talking about it.
What?
Like for instance, the Battle Royale, they did the and the Survivor MMO. I mean, I've been thinking about it, but not like in concrete. What I would love to see, right?
What about World of Warcraft if they made it free, but just more cosmetics in the shop?
Yeah, no, but I think that's not like it's kind of like with Diablo, right? It wouldn't change anything, right? Because it's not the price.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I like for instance, if you look at PoE, I've played it a little bit. I really want to love that game. And I'm going to play PoE2 a lot. The way Grinding Gears is doing business, I really do like. And I will probably be the guy spending thousands of kronas, or like maybe not thousands of dollars, but $1,000 a year, maybe more actually, in the game, because it doesn't cost anything. If it's a game I enjoy playing, I kind of look at it this way. If I'm going out to a party, I would spend a lot more. If I was taking the family out to the movie theater, I would spend a lot more, but that would be like 5 hours of entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So in that regard, I have no problem paying for extra stuff. But the only thing I ask is that the game is good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, it's not the thing. And to be honest, I don't think the price point is the problem. I think it's the game. In Diablo this season, I promised myself not to buy anything from the shop. I had some points. I used that for the season pass, but I was decided on not buying the season pass as well, because I want the game to be good, and then I'll fill in money in the shop. But it needs to be good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't mind paying to sub for WoW if just the game was fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the big schemes of things, I'm also maybe a little bit different than a lot other, and you're probably as well, right? We are older. We have maybe a little bit more money than a 16-year-old kid. So it's like, if it's something I really enjoy, then it's not a lot of money to add in, right?
Yeah.
Where when I was 16, that was like, or maybe I was 20. I still had a bit of money there, but still, the thing that you have in WoW, you have to pay every month and all that stuff, right? It adds up. But still, back then, it wasn't an issue when it was that type of amount.
Yeah, that's, for example, I don't see a big problem with, for example, WoW tokens in WoW, because you have that 16-year-old guy who can play 12 hours a day and get 200k gold in one day. Then you have people like me who can play 2 hours every evening, and I will never get 200k gold because I simply don't have the time for it. So, but I have a wallet which is probably 10 times bigger than the 16-year-old guy, so I don't mind paying him money, because I mean, he sells the WoW token, so he gets in-game time, and he sells it to old people like me. I'm calling myself old, but he's selling.
And I just called you a young one before we started the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, but I'm 100% with you there, like 100%. I think it's the important thing when you do stuff like that is it shouldn't be for important stuff. So if it's grinder stuff, for instance, if you're raiding, you need pots and all that, and elixirs and so on and so forth, then you need gold for that. I don't have the time, but I really want to raid, for instance. Then I think it's really good that there is that option, and I'm quite sure that the young guy that you referred to before, he really enjoys that. He can actually earn money to get game time by selling gold, right?
Exactly. He can play WoW for free just by selling those gold for game passes.
Yeah, so I will say I think that is very good. I know that it's not always a popular opinion that we have here, but I definitely agree, because I don't. It's also like the thing is that when I play, I don't have a problem grinding if it's a good grind, but it shouldn't be too much. So when I'm finally sit down at the computer, I want to have fun, right? I want my dopamine. I want to be entertained. I want to do stuff. I don't want to kill boss in some sick corner of Azarath like for 10 hours to get like Yeah, I think we're on par on that one.
Yeah, and a lot of people hate WoW tokens, but I think it's a good thing, as we're saying, and also I think it brought down how many people who actually go to bot sites and buy illegal gold.
Definitely. Definitely, and I think I definitely think that's a good thing as well. Like that is one of the biggest problems I think in Tarkov that I've enjoyed a lot, and one of the reasons I stopped Tarkov is because there's too much cheat. The reason there's a lot of cheat is because a lot of people are playing it, and it's a hardcore game, so you need a lot of rubles, the in-game currency in Escape from Tarkov, it's the same thing, and it really destroys the game.
Yeah, okay. And I know Call of Duty has the same issue with hackers, and no matter
how. But the price isn't as high in Call of Duty, right?
That's true, because in a Call of Duty you just die. In Tarkov you have all the gold and money and all that.
Yeah, and yeah, gold. That was well, yeah. No, yeah, but because the thing is, like, I have actually tested a cheat myself because at one point I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I want to see what it's about. Then I saw what it was, and I was like, this is crazy. And I've been watching some videos as well for what's been happening. But the thing is, like, for instance, when you have these cheats, you can see everything. So you can see you have a player there, and he has a kit that is worth a couple of million rubles, which is quite a lot. That's a good kit, right? Like good weapon, good armor, good bullets, good all that. So and he can see that, and he can go in with a shitty rifle for 20,000 with some bullets in, and he can headshot you from the other side of the map. So he just, and maybe teleport as well. So he just goes in, and so if you go in and you go in strong, like with a lot of good gear, then they will hunt you, and I mean the chances of you winning that fight is slim to none, right?
Yeah.
So in that regards, it's really, really bad. The good thing is I got very good with the iron sight at one point because I was like, I don't want to do this. So I took like an old Mosin wooden rifle, right, and some good bullets, and then I was like, let's see what we can do with this.
Hunting down people.
Exactly, with my rifle.
Yeah. All right.
But how much do you know from about the survival game? We had that photo one.
Yeah, we only had a picture where you saw people coming from the world we are from, going in through a portal into this fantasy world where it looked like a fantasy world like World of Warcraft, like a real fantasy place. So it's gonna be people in normal clothes as we have right now go into this fantasy world. So I expect the characters are gonna start looking a bit like, that game where the game Microsoft made, the one where you are very small in your garden.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of like you start in normal human clothes, a striped t-shirt with some pants, and then you're probably gonna get fantasy gear later on.
Okay. Kind of like the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. I don't know if you remember that one, or I'm too old now. There was like a group of kids or teenagers, they're going into a theme park. Then they try this Dungeons and Dragons ride, and then they go into the Dungeons and Dragons world. So that the warrior, the sorcerer, and so on, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be exactly the same.
I'm old.
So, is that all for the wish list and expectation?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm still a bit surprised that we're not going to see anything from Hearthstone, no. But it seems like that's the case.
Yeah, maybe another mode, because I know they really like to do new modes. They now have, the Battlegrounds, which is basically Battle Royale. They have this PvE mode where you do like mobile games. Battlegrounds.
Yeah, the PvE. We're talking about Hearthstone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the PvP or the PvE mode, that's old, right? I think I've played that when I played it.
Yeah, but they made another one, where you have it's kind of like those mobile games where you have like 5 monsters you place down, and then they automatically attack the other monsters. Auto battler.
Okay.
They added that, but that didn't become a success. And then they made this new thing, Battleground, which is basically the same as TFT, if you know that. From the League of Legends. It's the same where you have 8 people that keeps random meeting each other, and you don't control who to attack who. It's just you can't just like attack automatically.
Okay.
And then you don't create. It's pretty fun because you don't create your own build. You just get thrown a build on you, and then you just have to play with this build. And then they have like 40 different champions, like heroes, that you just randomly get.
Okay.
So you could get one game as Illidan, one game as Lich King, one game as some kind of new hero they just invented.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so we might even see like a new mode maybe.
Yeah, and that could be something that they will show there.
Yeah.
I would really love to see some Battle Royale in Diablo. I'm going to write Adam Fletcher.
Yeah, you have to tag him on Twitter or X.
Yeah, no, I've actually been writing with him a little bit on Twitter. He's not always too too snappy on his replies, but he is actually replying. So I've a huge thumbs up for that.
Yeah, especially when the game was about to release, and they really answered like anything they could.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I would actually say, and that's one of the things I think is a little bit of a pity with Diablo. I think they should have waited half a year with the release, so the release would be as it is now, or a year. Half a year, right?
Yeah. Season 2 should probably have been the release.
It definitely should. Also because the marketing department has done a phenomenal job on Diablo. And there's so many new action RPG players in Diablo. And it's a little bit of a pity that the experience they get is what it was. They should have waited. And also I think PoE 2 should probably have moved a release quite a lot forward if they could, because there was a lot of new players that probably would have enjoyed PoE 2 if they could release the game a couple of months or so after Diablo, right?
Yeah. But yes, it wasn't ready.
No.
And it's still not even close. It's still like, do we even know when they're going to release it?
PoE? I think we have the first beta in June next year. And actually, I'm always the believer of make the game before we release it. So rather wait. But just saying, if they had the option, they should definitely have that would have been a slam dunk. Would use all Blizzard's marketing effort and just put it down the grinding gear back, right?
Yeah.
But PoE 2, I know it's not Blizzard, I know it's not BlizzCon, but I've always wanted to like PoE 1, and I've tried so many times because there's so much to do. The company behind, they give you this free game. You can buy some stuff if you want. So there's in so many regards, and I won't go too deep about it, but in so many regards, it's a slam dunk. I've tried to play it a couple of times. I had some very seasoned players help me, like 10K, 15K, I think, or was more hours played, so they knew what they were doing right.
Yeah.
But I simply feel the game is too dated, too clunky, like visually feeling. But if it's with the new graphic that PoE 2 has, it looks so sick.
Yeah, I can't get into number 1 because it just feels like a 2.0 game. When as you're saying, the graphics in PoE 1 and the clunkiness and
yeah,
I'm gonna wait to number 2 definitely.
Definitely, but I would probably recommend you played a little bit of PoE 1 first. I am going to play PoE 1 before, and also try to make some sort of guides, because I've tried to play PoE alone. That didn't work at all. Like, you need your loot filters, you need your build guides, you need all that, because it is extremely complex. So as a new player, unless you really like theory crafting, then I would recommend go with some guides, go with all that. And I think since it's PoE 2, they will have a lot of similarities to PoE 1. So my plan is to kind of make some sort of guide, or at least do some knowledge sharing on my Discord, so new players know what to do, including myself, because it is going to be a heavy game to start up.
Yeah, that's as they call it. What was it? Path of Exile?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't heard that one, but that is spot on. Yeah. There's so many things just with the loot filter. Like you go in and you have no clue if the items are good or not. Like in Diablo, it's a bit chaotic as well. It's much better now with the new season. You have search functions. Actually, the one of the biggest things in season 2 is the search function in the stash. Like, it's so good. So it can search on all text you have on all items. So, for instance, if you have an aspect, if you have a stats, it still needs a lot more, at least some more work. So you can kind of make a loot filter with the items you see, so you don't pick up stuff you don't need. But this is really helping out a lot.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm still only level 20, so I haven't experienced much of it yet.
Really?
Yeah, I streamed for like 30 minutes of it yesterday, and then I was like, I want to play hardcore WoW again.
Also 20 minutes in season 2, because level 20 in season 2. Because you played season.
Well, yeah,
preseason.
yeah. Well, oh yeah. Sorry, yesterday I actually created a new character because I had a friend who was trying it for the first time. So we made like a new character together, and I was testing how fast we could level together. We were doing that dungeon that I know Riker is saying is the fastest one to do right now. I can't remember the name, but it's like where you only do half the dungeon, you don't do any objectives, then you get to the blood gate and you reset and you do it again. It's just like a
Okay.
big room with a lot of monsters, and if you do that, you can get like a one level every 2 minutes. You just go in, boom,
Okay.
level, boom,
Okay.
level,
Wait,
boom, level.
that's crazy. But I will say, and that's one of the good things as well. Like the leveling is much better in Diablo 4 Season 2, like
Oh
a
yeah,
lot. Like it's like I'm going to. I haven't played one character to live in 100 because I was simply too bored. Pre-seasons I was around 90. Season 1 I was 70, 67, and in 2 days I was 1 day, 2 days I was past what I did in season 1.
yeah,
So it's a lot better. So now they just need to add some awesome end game and battle royale.
yeah. Yeah, that's the main thing I need in Diablo 4. I need a reason to keep playing when I have my best gear, or all that thing. I need something that is fun to sit and queue up with friends. Where right now I feel like,
I think that PvP. I know that PvP hasn't been successful, but for me, PvP is, for instance, in WoW. When you're done with all the content, you have all the raids, you have all that done.
yeah,
Mythic Plus was nothing when I played back then. But then you could always go PvP, right? You could
yeah,
always go PvP. I remember. Okay, I know this is a dick move, but I had a rogue with the full season 3, I think, PvP gear in after Sunwell Platoon released, with Warglaives and Illidan's the head. I can't remember the one that's just the band, right? So I was I was running around in the Sunwell Platoon stealthing, and I saw a band of happy fellas and Felice just around leveling, questing, maybe making some elixirs and stuff like that. And then I killed them all. Then and then I did that until people locked out. And then sometimes they locked in on the mains, and then I got the same treatment, but and that's part of it, right? But like the PvP aspect, and that's why I think that's something in Diablo with PvP, because going for the PvP zones is something I'm probably going to do in Diablo when I'm done with everything. But that will also get boring quite quickly.
it would be cool if you could enable PvP server, so everywhere in the world is PvP.
Yeah, I would. I don't think they will do it though, but I would love it.
Yeah, it's not. They're not gonna. They should not do it so it's forced on people. It should be like a selective thing that you want.
Yeah, I would love that, but I think that one of the things with Diablo 4 is that their marketing, or their market is the everyday player, right?
Yeah.
The casual player, and I mean it's good and bad, right? But in this regards, I think it's a little bit bad in terms of PvP, right? Because the everyday player just wants to run around by himself or herself. Um, and that's like I don't really. I hope they'll do something with PvP, but sadly I don't believe that's something we'll see anytime soon.
Mm. No, like look, like even like as they have a World of Warcraft, like a battleground arena, something you could queue up
Yeah,
to, would also be fine.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah,
Okay.
or the battle royale.
Or the battle royale, that would be fun too.
Yeah, I could live with that.
So that was the expectations, the wish list, and again, just to so everyone who listening, the wish list we have now is Classic Plus, Diablo 4 raiding, Diablo 4 ability improvement, Diablo 4 even like a paladin or the knight from Diablo Immortal, the vampire guy, Warcraft 4 or StarCraft 3, StarCraft MMORPG, the new survival MMO, and it has to have some kind of like dark evil theme and a mode you can activate, which is like hardcore and permadeath, kind of like they said H1Z1 what they did. Then a Diablo or Overwatch Battle Royale, and Heroes of the Storm 3.0, or basically the resurrection of Heroes of the Storm.
That is a mighty fine list. Mighty fine list.
We should definitely like. I'm gonna do a quick screenshot of that. So Because when BlizzCon is coming, I'm gonna be like sitting down and check marking everything.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm actually doing when BlizzCon is when it is. I have a friend over, and we're actually going to start 2 new characters and play Diablo, right? So I'm not going to see it live, sadly. But promise me that if one of them from the list is popping up, you need to ping me in the chat, because I have to see that. And when we get a, yeah, sorry.
Will you be streaming when you play with your friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a friend I have over once in a while. We usually have a lot of um, wet goods.
Beer.
So this, and there's some. Last time I think we had some champagne and some gin tonics and some. No, he's actually not drinking gin tonic. I had some, but usually when we're playing Tarkov, for instance, it's the aim is gone afternoon, right? It's not there. So Diablo's a lot better. Normally we play Diablo 3 hardcore. We're doing like a pentathlon with a lot of tournaments against each other. And we're going to stream that, but I told him that BlizzCon is there, so we might have to take an eating break and kind of look. So if we get a program, there is especially the Diablo thing or something secret, or maybe the Classic Plus thing, I'm probably going to pause the game for a bit.
Yeah, I'll ping you if I'm like, hey, they're talking about Diablo 4 now.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah, I hopefully I'm gonna. It depends on when it starts, but I'm gonna try to do everything I can to be live streaming the entire event, because I really love like watching it and reacting with chat and just having a blast.
Yeah, that's also cool.
Before we end, did you see that on the 7th of November, December, we are getting the Game Awards show, the big one with Jeff Keighley, I think he's called. The very big one where they have the game of the year. That's gonna come.
Yeah, where the kid he sneaked in last time and destroyed the pleasure from Elden Ring. Or was it the year before?
No, it was it was this one.
Yeah. That was a naughty little fella.
And then Asmongold and Soda Pop, and they just announced the day after that show they're gonna have OTK Game Awards. So 2 days in a row.
That's more indie games, right?
Well, we don't know for sure. I mean, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, so I think more companies want to work with them.
Okay, that's exciting. Maybe we should do some co-commenting stream on that one.
Yeah, we could do that, because when that's the fun thing with Twitch. You can watching this with this person and them like tagging each other.
Yeah, I think we need to look into that, but that could be cool.
Yeah, so December we are gonna have BlizzCon now, and then in December we're gonna have 2 Game Awards with plenty of trailers. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see what happens. But I will say I'm most excited for BlizzCon, because the thing is, if it's games, if it's new sneak peeks of new games, right? We know it's a couple of years before we see the game.
Yeah.
And I hate waiting.
Actually, I forgot to add one on the wish list. WoW for Xbox. Because why would Microsoft not throw it on the Xbox? They already added secretly controller support you can enable now in the game. And
yeah, that was actually my first question. Are you able to play it proper on controller?
Right now, you're not able to do proper, but I tested it. You can go into the game, write a command in the chat, and then it works. You can walk around like you do in other like MMOs with controller. You could use some of your skills, but it's not very good. You need the add-on called WoW. It's called WoW console, WoW control, something WoW console on controller. Then it works perfectly. But they need to take that add-on, put into the game, throw it on Xbox, throw it on the Game Pass, throw it on PC, and then they can actually compete with Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy is on PlayStation.
PlayStation, yeah. Yeah, one note, it's a little bit Blizzard-ish because Microsoft acquired them. I think that it's funny to see Sony crying about console exclusivity
Yeah.
when they have been doing that. Like the only reason they're the biggest console at the moment is because they've been doing it for 20 years, and then they're like, "Pooh, you can't do that. That's our dirty trick."
Yeah.
Like, no.
No, now it's ours.
Yeah, exactly. Yoink. But that could be really good. Also because I think that a lot of young players, it's an easier entry level to get a console than a full gaming rig, right?
Yeah, because the Xbox Series S is like 2,000 Danish kroner.
It's really.
So
But is it good enough? The S.
I mean, I have the S, and I'm very happy for it.
Okay.
It's you can, for example, play Diablo 4 with it on 60 frames, very smooth. But then it sacrifices a bit of the graphics, so it gets a little more blurry, but still works perfectly.
Yeah, I thought that Diablo would be like, I built up my whole channel to focus on Diablo 4. That isn't the case at the moment. It might change, right? But I was looking into to solutions for me to be able to play Diablo over in the living room, right? Because I'm sitting in a different building. So with 2 kids and a wife, sometimes they're doing something, and I could take like 20 minutes to do something, right? In the game, which makes sense. But if I go to this building, then there's a chance that 1 hour later they're like, but where you at, right? So I was looking at something. I bought the Steam Deck and played a bit of Diablo beta on that. That worked quite well.
Yeah, and now when Diablo 4 is on Steam, I know you have to buy it again, but if you bought it through Steam, you would also be able to install it easier and play it.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I sold the Steam Deck again because the Asus Ally came out, and I thought I wanted to sell it before that, like when it still had some value, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, you can like cloud stream games and stuff like that. So I could sit on my working PC that is not a gaming PC, but it's a laptop. So I probably think I would get a better experience for something like that.
Yeah.
Doing grindy stuff like Nightmare Dungeons, like grinding stuff that if you die, it doesn't matter, and but it's still fun, and you can take 20 minutes.
They did remember with Activision Blizzard when they got bought by Microsoft. They did the deal with GeForce, all these 100 companies, that all their games are going to go to their streaming services. So in just probably a couple of months, you can play Diablo 4 through GeForce Now, Game Pass, all these online services.
That is amazing, because I have PlayStation, GeForce Now. I haven't really used it that much, but that is really, the integration in different devices is really good. I think I could play it on my phone as well.
Yeah.
And I have like the large iPad Pro, so my plan was actually to try to play it on that instead, or something like that instead of the Steam Deck, right?
Yeah, that should work, because it's going to be on many, because that's they had to do it before winning this entire case they had, where people said you're going to dominate in the cloud market, and they were like, okay, fine, here 10 other platforms take our games. What are you going to say now?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, okay, you win, take it.
That was the mic drop.
Yeah, Phil Spencer. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's a great ending.
Definitely is.
So Ramberg, GG, but well, we're gonna call it Ramberg. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast, and I'm even more excited for BlizzCon after we had this talk. I'm like that there are some things that like it would be amazing, but on the wish list, just to end that up, I think that we will definitely see something with Classic Plus, like in some shape. Maybe just a little bit the mentioning of it. I don't think we'll see something very concrete, but maybe a hint or something like that.
They might be like, we have heard your prayers, we're working on it, we're not ready to show it.
Exactly. Yeah, because like I don't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or if it was before, but Chris Metzen just joined the company, so the chances of them having anything concrete will be slim to none. But they could give us just a small bone.
Something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And again, for everyone who's listening, if you want to listen to more of Ramberg's voice or see him in action, go to twitch.tv/RambergGG, and it's RAMBERGGG.
Thank you for the shout out. And it was a pleasure to join.
Yeah, it was fun. And again, it was nice to have. I was really looking for someone who had this fellow Blizzard spirit to get on this podcast, and you were a perfect fit for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So for everyone listening, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, whatever, thanks for listening. And I'll see you soon on the next episode. Peace out.